One. Hello, YWAM Europe. This is the November edition of the ELLC, and I'm Tim Engelmann from YWAM Hurlach, and I'm going to reflect this month about the fourth Lausanne Congress on World Evangelization that happened just in September. I had the privilege to be there, which was the fourth one every 15 years or so. All the mission movements across the world come together and see into the next 25 years or so what are strategic things to do. There's been a Great Commission report released before that. There's been a listening process over previous years with 25 gaps identified in the Great Commission, one being the young generation, which I was part on working on. But I want to reflect on the main message that is for us at YWAM Europe, as I was asked to do that. And most powerful for me and for many was both the opening and closing message by Lausanne director Michael O. He talked about 1 Corinthians 12, the body of Christ, and particularly the words that he quotes there, where one part of the body says to the other part, "I don't need you." And he's been saying this has been one of the most destructive words in our church culture globally in the last few years, in the last decades actually, saying, "Oh, we are strong enough, we're good enough, we can do it ourselves." And that sounds great in the first place, but it's very unbiblical. And reflecting on that one, even after the conference, we actually recognize that Europe was not much represented or part of the Congress on stage, but and many parts of the global body of Christ are bringing their part, and we were asking, what is our part as Europe in it? And recognize that actually that particular part, the collaborative part, is comparably quite strong actually in Europe. We collaborate. Wow, we recognize we can do much more, and I want to challenge us today in that one. That we can be a testimony to the rest of the body of Christ, what it means to collaborate between different parts of the body, with different churches, different ministries, different denominations. And so that's been a reflection we had for Europe. So in that, I want to invite us really to look outside our current bases and ministries we're in. Particularly with Lausanne, it's been really a testimony of what collaborative work can do, and the global body of Christ function together. But for us in Europe, I want to give one example that I want to highlight today is the Revive Europe. Revive Europe is a ministry working with various student movements across the continent, including other ministries like YWAM. They work with young people. And there's been the request, can we work together? Can we function together? And that's still something we need to identify how we do that. We've grown so big as YWAM that we can be satisfied within ourselves. And so crossing that border much more is possible. So for Revive, there's more movement like Steiger and IFES and 24/7 Prayer. Elementarily part of it, and we are asked as YWAM to collaborate as well, which is for the student generation, those in their 20s, in Europe. So we're going to have, end of this year, a conference called Revive Europe Conference. It's going to happen in Krakow, Poland from the 28th of December on to the 1st of January. And we're going to have a special day on January 1st, where we come together as YWAM to actually see how collaboration can look like for the sake of revival in the student generation in this continent. And so I invite us to be part of it and to go on this journey together, because we believe Europe is pre-revival. That's what we state there, and everybody is needed to be part of that. So if you want to be part of that, you can sign up on reviveeurope.org, go on the registration and click there for the extra day, and we're going to explore how that looks like. Besides, I think there are many more opportunities for us as YWAM, and I want to highlight that. I think that's really the message from Lausanne for us, to really explore more the collaboration in the body of Christ. I have been in various contexts where people said they would love to work with YWAM, they don't know whom to call, and so they don't do it. So we need to really reach out from our part to be in places. Particularly I want to highlight also the Evangelical Alliance. Both in our nations, we were actually in Germany asked to collaborate for 900 youth groups in the country to see youth ministry repioneered, because it's a bit in the crisis in many places. And so we're figuring out how to do that while we're busy with our own programs, right? And similarly in Europe, I had the privilege to be at the General Assembly of the European Evangelical Alliance in Sarajevo this year for Revive Europe. And similarly, many ministries said, we'd love to work with YWAM, and we don't know how to, so we need to reach out. Right now, I'm in Croatia. We are running a mini DTS with YWAM Slovenia, first one for the country. And in this region, we'll be back again in 3 weeks for something called the Balkan Core Conference that we're collaborating in more now, that asked, Balkan Core is 12 nations that work together, Christian leaders, ask us as YWAM, can we help to invest in the young generation together? They even asked to run a mobile mini DTS, more on a reconciliation focused for these nations. They would look for students and we would run the program. And so there's those efforts there that reaching out, even in my own base in YWAM Castle in Germany near Munich, in a Catholic region, we started to collaborate with Catholic youth who are very, very hungry, and they come around once a month to our base, and we run a weekend program throughout a whole year. And discipling with our DTS program just adjusted for the Catholic. And we had recently the UNUM conference next to us in Munich, which is a Protestant and Catholics come together, most of it young generation in their 20s, and saying, okay, what does it look to reach Germany together in our differences, but in many things we align in. And there are various efforts like that. And so I want to invite us and challenge us as YWAM Europe, how it looks like to collaborate and to go outside our boxes and to see the greater good. And I think we did it from the very beginning very strong as YWAM. We had people from many ministries, Francis Schaeffer and Labrie and Brother Andrew and all kind of movements, crew, very, very strong with Bill Bright and all that. And so it's in our DNA, but we've been so big that we've grown that we are satisfied within ourselves. So before the Lausanne Congress, I just came from the YWAM Together and the Malacca Gathering in the Philippines, and we talked with various younger leaders. We said, okay, we really need to repioneer what it means to collaborate, even within YWAM. Like for instance, for our region, and we identified for this point it's even more important that we collaborate, and even what we do, they're gonna come and fall into this place by itself, but that we learn to function together like a body. First of all within YWAM, but even very, very important outside, with Evangelical Alliance, with Revive Europe, with things like the Balkan Call here. You're most welcome to be part of it. And so as the last thing, I really want to challenge us to dive deeper and recognizing the greater need we have as mission movement. So with the Lausanne Congress, there was, as I mentioned, this Great Commission report that was identified. I encourage you to go on lausanne.org, read through the Great Commission report. It's 95 pages. Globally, what situation, the biggest and most in-depth research we had so far about the global body of Christ and the state of the Great Commission. And to do that, and also find out more about the sessions there, you can watch them now online on lausanne.org. I highly recommend the previous conference, 2010 in Cape Town. I watched all of it later on, and it's really been enriching for me. So I encourage you to go there, watch it, even with your community, particularly the opening and closing session by Michael O. About collaboration. It's really, really powerful. So we need each other. I need you, and others need us as well, as we need them as well. Think about the picture of the body of Christ globally, and we as Europe have something to offer as we grow more in collaboration, and also show that to other parts of the world it's possible to cross boundaries for the sake of the gospel and being centered in Jesus. And so with YWAM Europe, have a call to rise up and to be again on the stage of the world in our part as we recognize other people's part. So let's do that, learn it in our own bases, in our own nations, learn it in Europe. And I hope to see you on January 1st for the YWAM time at the Revive conference. Come for the conference, invest in there, and let's see how we can reach the young generation in Europe together and function with the global body of Christ. We see the Great Commission fulfilled, the 25 gaps closed, walk in our calling to know God, make Him known together. God bless you.